You're getting paid for your expertise more than anything else.
And taste.
And taste, yeah, exactly.
Taste, exactly.
It's taste, though. You're getting paid for your I just got hired today for an artist, and anybody else can put up a 251 and record. Like, I've been open about what I use, but at the end of the day, you're being paid for your taste. Of when that you just blew my mind where you said, what if a producer has a drum sound? You can't fuck with that. And I'd never considered that. That's like so, that's why I love this channel.
Well,
because
there's an engineer that will remain nameless. I love this human, and I think there's a quote somewhere that says like, I don't touch producers' drums because it's their drum sound. I'm paraphrasing, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna touch the fuck out of everyone's drums because they're coming to you. I'm not gonna change. You're not gonna change the tone of the kick drum. No. But what are you? You're gonna say I can't like enhance the attack of the kick drum because
no. Right. But how do you do that without?
I'm very interested in that. Like, especially Bainz and Teezio. I feel like you guys are getting lots of tracks from sort of the A-level hip hop and pop track guys who make beats and make. Understanding a little bit of the YSL world, realizing how many beats these guys make. Yeah. I just never really understood it. It's got to be thousands.
I have to pay extra money every month for my my email just for beats, and I don't even check it that often. Yeah. It's just like I just can't have someone say it's bounced back, so I feel bad. I just keep putting more money in it. But yeah, I mean, like they make like a lot of shit because there's so much stuff though. There's like SoundCloud changed, and then streaming and everything. There's just so much more material now, so people are just making it faster. And plus, you can make it way quicker. Like this is not like you don't need to book a 12-hour session or to record a band and get session musicians and all that kind of stuff.
We can make 10 tonight. Do you want it? Should we do it?
We probably will. We'll be set up for it.
And once you it's almost formulaic. Like once you get that down, you just get in the groove. And there's so many of them around. So we really have to when it comes down to mixing, because I have such a close relationship with most of them, it's usually me hunting them down to get the stems. It's a mission. Yeah. It's like a real they won't get their stems out, or they just hate doing it.
Dude, that's another whole thing.
It's just a pain.
But how divided are the stems when you get them? Like how many?
So it depends on the producer. If they use a loop. If they've used a loop, it's usually a sample thing.
You're just getting like a 2-track?
Gets a loop, and then that'll be whatever they've chopped in.
No shit.
Yeah. And then, but the drums are usually always broken.
Well, you as a mixer, I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. I'm usually getting everything, and people are typically hiring me, and I'm mostly working with independent artists where they're expecting a transformation with the mix. And that's great, because cool, roll up my sleeves, get into it. But if I was ever in a situation every now and then we'll get something where a lot of sounds are really baked in, but I'll still replay a bass and tuck it. Because I'm coming at mixing from producing and engineering, where I'm just look, I'm solving problems as a scientist, and there ain't enough low end in the source material, and no amount of specter or fuckery is gonna get it in there. So I'll just drop in a sample or do that, and I feel like in your world you get your fucking
and blending it into school, playing the part again.
I know. It's a different world.
Someone's gonna come for me.
Well, I can speak on a similar method without replaying, but on the one Lil Nas song that I mixed, the bass was, again, this could be a monitoring thing. It was just up the wrong octave. It was a live bass. And it was up so I just dropped it down an octave. I didn't replay it, but that's not a mixer move.
That's fine. Yeah,
but that's not.
You're not reproducing. You can't take publishing for that.
No, of course
what you're
not.
saying is dangerous territory, though. like the producer, you're coming
but hold on. This is a really good conversation because I talk to my best homie Tyler Johnson about this a lot because I make bold moves when I'm in a mix with him. But it's under the conversation of 10-year friendship of I make the move to make the best record possible, not to later come back and say, well, you agreed to that move, so I now deserve publishing. I'm getting a point on the record. I'm invested in the copyright. I make the moves to make the record better.
And you're going to make 10 more years of records.
Exactly. Right. I'm credited as a mixer. All of a sudden, I'm a co-producer because I played a bass part.
Do you get, when you replay the bass, but I don't think you're saying that you do that to get publishing or produce.
No,
because
of course not.
And this is something I learned from Eric.
Yeah, and you're replaying the same part.
Yeah, totally.
No, because you're going to comp it the same
way.
Or
sometimes it'll come in a way at a time, and I'm just okay.
No, and it's just easier.
You're not changing 808 bass notes.
Not doing that. It's solving problems.
That's not going to happen.
If I told, and I'll tell them and be like, hey, I did this, and they're like, cool, sounds great. But I feel
there's a way of having the conversation. There was recently a mix that I did, and the kick was literally a piece of paper, and I was like,
there's nothing I can do unless I like really fuck it up. So I made a phone call. I said, hey, I had already turned in the record and I was listening in the car. I was like, you know what? I think we need to change it. So I made a phone call. I said, hey, I have this really great idea. Obviously, the person I called, I have a good relationship. I wasn't someone new. So I was like, hey, I have a good idea. I think the kick could hit harder. I'm going to try something. I didn't say I'm going to replace the kick. I just said I'm going to try something. Can you guys listen to it and let me know what you think? As soon as they heard it, they're like, we love it. They didn't ask, did you switch the kick? But I did.
Yeah.
And the producer loved it. Everyone loved it. There wasn't any more conversation that needed to be had after that because it gets into dangerous where you're like, you change the drums, all this shit. They loved it. Left it at that. The record now sounds good to me.
I think that's where it just boils down to what you just said. You had a relationship with them. So
It helps.
It depends. So if you have a relationship with them, it's totally, you could do whatever you want. Not whatever you want, but you have way more leniency. But like, there's some people that I would not try to do that. There's some people that I would, like, I could like be like, yo, Weezy, come inside here for a second. What do you think?
Yeah,
You like it?
especially
You like it? Like, they're there. I could do that with them.
Yeah, but they
Like,
trust
there's
you
certain
too.
things that I don't want to
Yes.
do with certain things that I do. Sometimes there's some records that shit is distorted. Why is it distorted? Because it was distorted in the 2-track when we recorded the record.
Yeah.
Then when I changed it, someone got mad and they were like, go back to that. So I like had to get back and emulate it again because like that clipper, that Fruity Loop stuff, like that sound is ingrained into the demo. And like that's how it is. So like again, sometimes you're pushed in a corner.
I think what we're talking about, though, and I think everyone in this room is just sensitive to the initial, right? The initial inspiration in the record. And if the kick drum sounds like paper, but maybe whatever that frequency thing is, like has a cool interaction with the snare, you're going to hear that. You're going to be like, oh, well, that's part of the kit sound, but it's missing low end, and I can't just spectre it. Like all the things that we're saying are all about like, we're sensitive to the record and to the intent of the artistry.
Right.
Everyone, we're not trying to be like, oh, we know better. Like that's an ancient, archaic engineer mentality. Like if any of y'all are in a room being like, I know better, like
But
go
I
home.
will say, not to
Like,
stroke
that's so
egos,
old
it's like
school.
we kind of do with this particular thing, and I think that's why people hire us, right? Is because
Well, I think
they're
people
hiring
hire you for that.
for the perspective.
Which
no,
I think is good.
but sorry, no, I'll say like they're hiring all of you
agree.
for the perspective of like, hey, this person makes things sound great. This person listens to records all day, every day, and is working on records all day, every day. So there's like an inherent amount of trust. That
We get
comes with
lucky
that,
when we
right?
get that.
Yeah.
I think it depends on who you're hiring. Like I would hire a Serban for a completely I would hire somebody like you, and I think a lot of the gigs why I've gotten because I have completely replayed things or changed it, and the band goes, that was fucking great. I mix like a producer versus a mixer.
Yeah, same.
And me talking about mixing in this room is like a knife to a gunfight. Like so, I'm not
No,
going to
no,
say
no,
that.
please.
But I think that there's very different, like you were talking about, there's very different types of mixing. And I think like if I send something to Serban, I know I'm sending Serban my session, and he's going to send it back pretty much the exact same, and hopefully it's just like a little bit better. There's certain 3-letter mixers that I've sent shit to that literally came back with an intro and a bridge. I swear to God, that like wasn't in the song. And we were like, whoa! And it was like, are you kidding? Like, but also I think, especially when you're dealing with indie artists, like there's certain, because I do a bit of work with Sub Pop. When I get bands like that, they want, this record was made for $37. They want that Hollywood sound, and they're stoked when somebody puts a pretty heavy thumbprint on it.
Sure. Yeah.
Whereas I feel like you guys, like, it's not even the same job. I think it's a completely different thing. Like the way that you guys have to mix with these things is completely different. Like and correct me if I'm wrong, as I said, but I feel like you three mix in a certain different way than we do. I feel like the artists that we're working with for the most part are expecting for a producer's touch versus a
That's what I was
mixer's
just
touch.
going
If
to
that
ask.
makes
You,
sense.
you feel like your position is mixing, but it also incorporates almost with the producer ear with it.
Without question. Cool. And to the point of where a lot of times when I'm asked to mix things, I tell people that I'm very heavy-handed with it because I can only make it how I think sounds right. I'm very bad at refining somebody else's vision. If we have the same vision, I'm really good at getting it there. But if it's like, I don't have the skills that you guys do to be able to help somebody else's vision get to 100%.
Thanks for watching. Just a reminder, all of this content is free. There's no secret knowledge here. There's no Patreon. We don't read ads. We don't have sponsors. We're just trying to build a knowledge base. All that we ask in return is that you share it with somebody. Thanks so much.